Water is an indispensable resource for daily life, industry, as well as agriculture. But in a country like India, managing water as well as the sustainability of the water supply has become increasingly challenging. India holds 4% of the world's freshwater resources, but we have 18% of the world's population. With the growth of urbanization, industry, as well as the changes due to climate change, we are in a scarcity of water. And as India continues to grow, we will see increasingly focus on wastewater treatment and the whole water infrastructure. So in this video, we're going to talk about the growing demand of water in India, the whole value chain of water infrastructure, and the interesting stocks in that domain. We'll also talk about the opportunities as well as the challenges that this sector has. So stay tuned for our coverage on another interesting sector. The demand for water is growing steadily across India. So let's try to dive deeper to understand what are the areas where we're seeing highest demand. People expect the demand for water to grow from 1040 billion cubic meters to close to 1500 billion cubic meters by 2050. That's a huge jump, and there will be a lot of evolution needed to cater to that demand. And the key areas where we see a lot of demand for water is number one, agriculture. Agriculture has more than 80% of the total water consumption that is needed in the country. Secondly, you'll have domestic demand. The urban population, the urbanization of the country is growing steadily, and we're seeing much higher water demand in that sense. And thirdly, on the industrial area, right, industry is expanding, manufacturing expanding, and there is a steady demand for water from the industrial sector as well. Now, along with this growing demand, India also has water scarcity and depleting resources. Groundwater, which is the primary source of fresh water in India, is depleting at a steady rate due to over extraction. India's water availability is at around 1500 cubic meters, which is actually very close to the scarcity level at 1700 cubic meter, and it is expected to go down even further. Now, climate change, for example, erratic monsoons, droughts, and changing weather patterns are also impacting water demand and causing water shortages. The increasing urbanization as well as industrial demand, like we discussed, is also leading to scarcity of water. As per Niti Aayog, some of the major larger cities in India could soon go into water shortage, and we need better water infrastructure, better sanitation, as well as wastewater management systems to meet that demand. So now let's try to understand the value chain of the water infrastructure. In the water segment, you have a number of players. You have people working on the supply, the treatment, as well as the management of water resources. So the first players in this industry are the consultants or the planners. So the consultants will do feasibility studies, understand water needs, and give recommendations on the size as well as the capacity of water projects. In this space, you have folks like Tata Consultancy and AECOM who do consultancy for water projects. The second stakeholders are the builders or the EPC companies. The engineering, procurement and construction companies will bring these projects to life. So the EPC companies are responsible for constructing the wastewater treatment plants, the sewage treatment plants, as well as the pipelines that are needed for these plants. They handle material, labor and technology, and in many cases, they even do the operations as well as maintenance of these plants. Here you have companies like Wabag Tech, which is a leader in water management. It is involved in municipal as well as industrial water treatment plants. Then you have NCC Limited, which is also involved in a lot of water infrastructure development projects. Finally, you have Ion Exchange, which is also involved in design, operation and constructions of various water treatment plants. Next, you have component manufacturers, which are responsible for building the critical components needed for these water treatment plants. Here you have companies manufacturing pumps, membranes, valves, bar screens and filtration units. Some of the key companies here are Supreme Industries, which is involved in manufacturing of PVC pipes. Then you have Jash Engineering, which is involved in valves, sluice gates and various other components, and companies like Sri Shakti Pipes, which is involved in constructing pipes for water management. Finally, you have operators or the maintainers. These guys make sure that the water treatment plants are working day to day in an optimal fashion and making sure that we are meeting the quality as well as the compliance requirements. Here, various companies like Babak Tech and Ion Exchange work in operation and maintenance of these water treatment plants. Finally, you have a lot of government bodies which actually accelerate the growth of this water infrastructure, and various government policies that we'll talk about next actually impact the growth of this industry. Now let's talk about the opportunities that are there in this segment which are leading to a lot of growth. So the first thing is the government initiatives. There are a number of policies that the government is taking to accelerate the growth of this segment. There is Jal Jeevan Mission, which is trying to bring water to every rural household by 2024. There is Atal Bhujal Yojana, which is trying to suppress over extraction of water resources. There is Namami Ganga initiative, which is trying to clean the river Ganga. There is Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, which is trying to optimize the use of water by the agriculture segment. And also in the recent budget, if you observe, there were a number of policies that were announced that are going to focus on the water infrastructure and accelerate the growth of water resources in India. Apart from it, new technologies also leading to growth of the water treatment infrastructure. You have smart meters, sensors, and the use of new technology to improve and optimize the use of water resources, and companies like EMS Limited are working in this space. You have wastewater recycling and reuse, where Ion Exchange and Babag are there. And finally, you have desalination process, which is now working in the coastal areas. Another thing that is leading to the growth of the water segment is stricter penalties and the compliances that are coming in this segment. Obviously, the growing urbanization and the growing industrialization is leading to a lot of demand that is leading to the growth of this segment as well. There is the challenge of the water infrastructure gap. Right now, India generates more than 72,000 million liters of wastewater, but the treatment capacity is only 26,000, which means that more than 72% of the wastewater is just dumped into our river bodies and not treated before it goes to our natural resources. There is also underdevelopment of the sewage facility. Only about 30 to 35% of tier 1 cities have optimal sewage systems, whereas other cities have a lot to look up to. Finally, India struggles to meet the strict regulatory compliance, and there's a lot of scope to grow in that space as well. Water infrastructure struggles because of the huge amount of capital needed to build these systems. There are a lot of financial barriers that are needed to grow these infrastructure companies. And secondly, the governance of these companies or this infrastructure is also very, very fragmented. So while we see a huge need for this industry to grow, there are a few barriers to growth as well. In terms of outlook for India's water industry, we see a very strong outlook. The demand for sustainable water management is going to be very strong because of India's growing urban base as well as India's growing industrial base. And the agriculture segment already remains a very strong contributor of the water demand. Finally, we see the government policies shaping these industries and many private-public partnerships coming in and accelerating the water infrastructure in India. So in conclusion, India's water industry is going through a significant transformation. In the next few years, we'll continue to see accelerated growth in this segment, and water could end up being another amazing super trend in the Indian financial market. If you like this video, please do hit the like button, subscribe to our channel and share it across with all your friends. Do write in the comment which other interesting sector you would like us to cover next. Till then, happy investing.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.